The first race to get going will be the qualifying heat for Groups B and E in X30 Senior. Very happy to see that green light. We are going to have a go at this. Let's take you through the grid for X30 Senior qualifying Groups B and E.
Sean Hogan of Ireland starts this one on pole position. Pip Casabine of Australia as well alongside. Oh, there's the shot down in towards turn number 2. Oh, this is going to be an interesting race. Eduardo Dominguez and Thibaut Ramekers on row number 2. They'll have Clement Outron and Roxane Lantinga on row 3. Christian Biasati and Fernando Leque on row number 4. They'll have Alexandre Machado and Alphonse Mirtinen on row 5. Andrea Martinez and Austin Gale go from row 6. They'll have Luke Agnew and William Thompson on row 7. Romy Russell and Diogo Castro on row 8. They'll have Aaron Ferrazzano and Jacob Miklev on row number 9.
Joey Brown and Miguel Silva go from row number 10. Patrice Kovalevski and Keo Lee start on row 11. Row 12, Portugal's Rodrigo Villachar and Martin Wallström of Finland. Timo Ruppen and Jesse Saarinen go from row 13. Filippo Polla and Carl Macher start on row 14. Sem van der Heijden starts on row 15 alongside Caden McQueen, who's made good progress in race trim so far this week. Juan Felipe Martinez and Nico Villa go from row 16. The last 2 rows of the grid, Alexei Peltoniemi from Finland, Thomas Hansen from Spain, completing the 35 runners in this one. It's Luis Tort.
Well, drivers this morning were all thinking, right, let's maybe think about putting some wets on if we're going out first time this morning. Now, we were due to start racing today at 8:05. There was going to be no warm-up sessions because of the delays that happened yesterday, and there you're seeing it's still so slippy out there. They've got 2 formation laps in to try and get some temperature into those tyres, but there are wet patches on the circuit here, Andrew. It was soaking wet this morning because it was like this all night. It just layered. It was very fine rain, effectively, that was in the form of a mist, and it just put a layer of water across everything, including the track, which means the grass is soaking wet, which means you do not want to get it wrong at all on this. This is the most challenging of racing conditions you could put to a driver, and on an international scale as well. This is interesting.
Martin Gunn, how are you doing down there?
Yeah, all good. See pretty much all the 3, all the way from 6, 7, 8 as well. I can just about see you.
Yeah, likewise.
Well, there we go. Just our race director and deputy race director having a quick chat with each other out there, saying, how are you seeing it? And yeah, they can see each other, which is the main thing. There's a lot of questions going on across the weekend. It'd be like, you know, if a driver can see the driver in front of them, you know, surely it's all good. Yes, you're not wrong when you say that, but the problem is that the officials need to be able to see the rest of the officials out on circuit. The marshals need to be able to see the next marshal point, and so forth and so forth. And of course, all the race control cameras. But it looks like we're good to go racing for the first time in what felt like an age. No, they're going around again the first time. You can forgive them a little bit. They're out of practice. It's been a while since they've gone racing.
Well, it at least gives them a little bit more time to get tyres up to temperature. As you mentioned before, Anthony, these are really, really tough conditions. I can expect that, yes, everyone's gone with a dry tyre because there's simply not enough moisture on the circuit to run a treaded wet. So this is all going to be about your drivers who are used to being in that intermediate condition. Tell you what, a driver from Ireland who probably quite likes this is your pole sitter, Sean Hogan. I bet he's had to deal with these conditions previously in his racing career. Keep an eye on the TV carts in this race as well. Clement Outron, Christian Biasati and Alex Machado, the 3 teammates 5th, 7th and 9th on the grid, will look to work together again. There is a look at your intermediate classification as things stand. To remind, we are halfway through round 3, so some of these drivers have done 2 races, some of them have done 3 from the end of things yesterday. Danny Caronini is your current points leader on 2. Kevin and Roxane Lantinga, brilliant week for them so far. Very proud to stand on the stage next to one another in the driver's ceremony last night. They're on 3 points apiece. Freddie Lloyd on 4. Pip Casabine in this race, of course, is also on 4. Clement Outron also in this race on 4. Matthew Higgins and Thibaut Ramekers at the start of proceedings here today complete the top 8. But a lot could change across the course of the next 6 hours or so.
Race control, Martin 306 is a report to the stewards.
Well, 306 with a report to the stewards then, so that's a very interesting one. That will be Carl Marcia from Malta, starting on the 14th row of the grid. Are we going racing? We are going racing. It is a green flag, and we are down in towards turn one. There's no traction at all for Sean Haugen, and he goes wide at turn one. He tries to bring it back, and that looks to me like the barrel art of Eduardo Dominguez leads the way going in towards turn two and out towards the hairpin of turn four. Once again, the fog is starting to creep in there. There you can see from that picture, you can barely see it, the colours whizzing through the screen there. But it's a great getaway now as the lead change has happened again. That looks to me like Pip Casabin maybe has got away nicely, as one of the carts in the background there has unfortunately gone backwards. That's Sazanki Motorsport of Carl Maratia. The one driver who's been reported to the stewards already is now in a bit more bother, as through goes Clement Outron, who now leads the way.
Good stuff here from
he
those
doesn't.
at the front of the field. Yeah, it's one driver's broken away. We'll wait until the colours come back into our view to fully clarify who it is. Could well be Pip Casabin.
I believe so.
The barrels have started quickly as well. We've seen this as a bit of a trend over the course of the week so far, that those runners on the red and white machines tend to have a good start. I can see confirmed 306 under investigation on our screens now. It is the 2:42 of Pip Casabin. Australia lead in the first race of the day. On to lap two. Outron, Dominguez, Ramicus, Hogan is your top five. Very good start. Oh, there's problems there coming out of turn one.
That's Austin Gale and the MDC racing car running wide at T1, and that's going to force him all the way down the order here. It's so easily done if the temperature in those tyres are just not there. That is a huge, huge shame. Eyes on this one, though, all starting to kick off, but this is the battle for second place here. Or is it the battle for second place? No, it's not. Clement Outron is in the lead, yeah, so it's changed once again. Pip Casabin back down the inside. Dominguez going to fight back. The two of them side by side in towards the second half of the track.
And we're going to see something very interesting here. It's going to be difficult for the likes of Pip Casabin and Thibaut Ramicus, some of the younger senior drivers. They're a little bit shorter. If you're a taller driver like Clement Outron, these are good conditions. You can move your weight around. You can generate that tyre temperature a little bit quicker than those who are a bit smaller. Down the pit straight they go. Outron's lead is 7/10 of a second from Casabin. Dominguez right there in third place. Thibaut Ramicus from Belgium there in the blue suit, P4. Down the inside goes Dominguez, takes P2 away from Casabin with a nice move there.
Yep, certainly so, and that's bringing in the likes of Thibaut Ramicus, who's back on the scene now. Down the inside, Ramicus with that fastest lap of the race gets up into third place, but it looks like he's lost it on the exit. He has. And Casabin back there now. This is bringing Machado, this is bringing Haugen back into play here, as the pole sitter didn't get the best getaway at the start, trying to fight back in this one. Big movers all the way throughout this field. Caden McQueen up 13 places, Sam van der Heijden up 11 places. Nico Villa also up 13 places. Some big charges from the back of the field, as once again Ramicus back down the inside and back into third place.
Ramicus looking good here. I know he's been working on his driving in these kind of conditions. As we have a look at a replay, this is between the that's a spin and a near collection for the 256. It's the 330 that initially went round. That's Alfons Nietinen for Force Racing India, so holds on to 11th place. That's a real scary moment for the drivers out there. Ramicus on the move here. This is good to see. The diminutive Belgian has been working a lot on greasy and wet conditions. If we were to say there's been one weakness for Ramicus across the course of the 2024 international karting season, it has been when it's not dry. He's tended to go backwards in these senior races. That's not happening today. He has had a bit of a, well, we reckon he's had a bit of a growth spurt, but he's looking good right now, closing in on Clement Outron. The gap is just under 6/10 of a second.
Certainly is. Well, pushing them along here. Purple sectors for Ramicus on this lap. Looking very quick here, or be wild. He ran a little wide there out of the exit of the turn 9 sector at the beginning of sector 3. That will cost him a little bit of time here, and it certainly looks like it has, as Dominguez starting to reel him in once more in that start-finish straight. All about the slipstream, all about the toe, and one driver unfortunately not getting any of that, and I think that might be Rodrigo Vicala, unfortunately, the Portuguese driver for Kart Republic, I think possibly out of this race.
Yeah, Villar-Chaves no longer circulating. Change for the lead. Ramicus takes it away from Clement Neutron, but Neutron's going to fight back as they head down towards turn 5. Big thanks to our team out there who are feeding in news to us. No, not everybody is on a dry tyre. There's one driver who, per our information, has gone for a wet. It's not going well, though, as Ramicus goes back down the inside. Can he get it stopped? Neutron's going to fight back on the exit of turn number 7. Ramicus has the inside line for 8. Dominguez is going to come in here as well. Switching towards sector number 3. This is where things get technical, side by side between the two TBs of Utron and Machado. Ramicus is your new leader. Just to come back to that quick point on the wet tyre runner, it's Juan Felipe Martinez, and he's some 4 to 5 seconds a lap off the pace.
Yeah, wet tyre wasn't the right call on this one. It was understandable this morning, though, 100%, but as the day went on, the track did dry out amazingly, despite the fog still down on the circuit. But this is an amazing battle, and you can understand this battle. They have been waiting so patiently as round half spin there for Eduardo Dominguez, and he tumbles to the back of that train, and he will try and fight back, but he has lost touch of now the lead 5 in this one. And Ramicus now has opened up quite a nice little gap between himself and Machado in second place. There again, a look at the intermediate classifications. There is still, of course, one more senior race to go after this to do another full rotation of qualifying heats for the senior category, and that's going to be the most important one to try and get past with these weather conditions. But the more we look and the more we race, it's clearer. The clearer it looks out there. So conditions getting better and better, which is absolutely superb. Across the start-finish line they go. Then on to lap number 7. Ramicus has got a 6/10 lead as we watch this battle here for P2. Are we going to see a change? Can Hogan get down the inside? The answer is no.
No, not at this stage. Machado and Hogan just happy at the moment to work together to try and close in Thibaut Ramicus for VDK. We're on lap number 7, 2.5 laps of this heat to go. One more after this that'll bring this third round of heats for X30 Senior to a close. Keo Lee's going along quite nicely. He did some good racing earlier on in the year, of course, in wet conditions. On the international scene, he's up 9 places so far in this race. Has been working through with Martin Wallström, their 13th and 14th places, respectively. Shout out to Patrice Kolewski as well. Very good start for Kolewski, and has been able to hold himself there in the top 10 outside off your pictures, but circulating on track in the 273. And then you shouldn't have said that because he's just dropped back down to 13th. But it's still a net gain from where Kolewski started. End of lap 7, on to lap 8. What is the pace looking like? 1 minute 4.7s for Ramicus and Machado, 1 minute 4.8 for Hogan. So it's fairly stable right now. And the pace, again, with telling us what the track's doing, what the tarmac's doing. 1 minute 4s, that is pretty much dry pace on warm tyres. So clearly there's a good amount of grip out there. It's just that frustration of the fog that in some places might even be sitting at the eye line of the drivers. New fastest lap of the race from Jacob Mikulev, 1 minute 4.577 for Zanki Motorsport.
Yeah, Mikulev finding himself in 21st place right now, not really fighting anyone at the moment. But this first race nearing an end, and of course these drivers had to wait such a long time. This was the group that was out on track in the last race that went out yesterday, where they went out for their 1 formation lap, and then it was stopped at the end of that one. They were sat on the grid for some 45 to an hour and a half out on track, waiting to see if it would clear, and it just didn't, as we finally go on to the last lap for qualifying Heat B versus E. They've waited nearly 20-odd hours for this race to start, but it's finally happening, and Ramicus, well, the gap's down to 0.2 of a second now. Machado found a purple lap on that last one, confirmation of it there, 104.515. Can he close in enough on this one? I mean, with the risk of weather as Utron goes down the inside into 3rd place past Hogan, the risk of the weather again coming back is so important for these ones. Any position really, really matters to see where you can get to.
You've almost got to treat this situation as if this is the 7th and final round, because if the weather does come in, it's now what we're looking at here. Now that's an interesting thing. Sean Hogan's run wide there. that's where the water is now. It's all in those curbs. That's why Hogan lost the position. It just shows that if you're on the track, you're fine, but run a little bit wide, you get in a bit of a situation very quickly indeed. Good situation though for Thibaut Ramekes. He's going to take race victory. That is the third time that Ramekes has come across the line P1. Now, he's not held every single race win because, of course, he had a front fairing penalty in round 1. But in terms of what's happening out there on the track, Thibaut Ramekes continues to look very, very strong indeed here. Good result for Alex Machado, top of the TBs in second place. Clement Dutron in third, holds a spot in the top 5 in the intermediate classification. Good points as well for Brennan Tech and Sean Hogan. The Irishman comes home in fourth. Pip Casabine finishes in fifth and also still holds one of those spots in the top 8 of the intermediate classification after round 3.
Yes, indeed. Well, a very strong performance then for Ramekes, and is being one of those drivers now that could certainly maybe put it to the test of the rest in this one. And one driver coming up next certainly will be looking at that performance from Ramekes and start to think, I might have some proper competition on this one.
I mean, if it wasn't for that front fairing penalty in round
leading.
1, he would be leading right now. So it's looking pretty good for the Belgian. There is your provisional results. Christian Biasate continuing down the order, P6. Aaron Ferrazzano in 7th. Eduardo Dominguez, P8. Fernando Luque and Alphonse Mirtanen complete the top 10. Roxanne Lantinga falls a little bit down the order, P11 for her on that occasion. Kyo Lee, P12. Kowalewski, McQueen and Van der Heijden complete the top 15. Joey Brown, Martin Wallström, Romeo Roussel, Nico Villa and Jesse Saarinen all in the top 20. Work to do for the likes of Jacob Mikulev, William Thompson, Diogo Castro, Luke Agnew and Miguel Silva. They all come home 25th or higher. Filippo Polla, Austin Gale, Tommy Hansen, Louis Tort,